What's up, everybody? This is Jimmy with Trading Decoded. As if you don't know by this point, it is May 15th, 2025. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful day. It felt like we could do nothing wrong. We called out, and yes, called out at least 5, maybe 6 solid, great winning trades pretty early in the day. Most of us were done by 10 o'clock. We did find 2 more trades to take after 10 o'clock. But then there was really not much to do, although the chart kept providing. With that said, let's go ahead and get into what we saw, what we took, and all the things as to why. As you guys know, at this point, call and put scenario, well, if we get above a certain line of resistance, we're expecting it to go to the next resistance. If we get below a certain line of support, we're hoping it makes it down to the next support. Well, because this morning seemed a little off, we were a bit more conservative on our call put scenario, meaning the space between them was a little bit farther apart. Told everybody if we can get above this resistance here on Qs, we'd like to see at least a 30-cent move up to 517.08. The call line was 516.81. The put line, we put on the pink line, meaning if we get through that, we're hoping to make it down to, and here's an interesting one, we weren't looking for the first orange line, we were looking for this one. Why? Well, because that's what we did the last time we broke that support. We went down to that line. So entry was a break of this support, exit was a touch of that. We put that alert on this chart 5 minutes before the market opened. We put an alert, where did it go? We had an alert up here on the blue line before the market opened because that's where our target high was. Steven, if you know, you know, obliged. Very nice, and he took care of that. The beauty was we couldn't get anywhere near or even break this pre-market low support, which was good. ADD started as a rocket ship right through this top, so a lot of us got into this trade a hair before we got above the call line, giving us a little bit more than a 30-cent potential move. As we moved through it, ADD kept printing green, so I stayed in just a little bit longer. Normally, when we get up in here, I tell everybody, guys, tighten up your stop losses. If you're hoping for more, that's great. But just realize that the trade we originally looked for already came to fruition, meaning don't overstay your welcome. These trades are not meant to be taken and held for a long period of time. If it naturally turns into more than what you expected, that's awesome. If it doesn't, be happy with what you got. That right there, and I don't have my TradeZilla open. Let me see real quick. That right there was for me. Let's see. Daily Journal. Today was I'm not familiar with this yet, so I'm not exactly. I know how much I made, but percentage-wise, I'm sorry, don't mean to take up your time like this. 100% win rate. 12.26%. 12.26%, which I'm okay with that. Man, if I could make 10% on my money every minute, I'd be a pretty happy camper, and you probably should be too. With that said, we did get in a little late. I did anyway, near the upper half of this candle, not the bottom. And it did what I wanted. Now, I did stay in a little bit longer. Once we closed back below this line and managed to pop back up above it is when I put a mechanical stop in. I did get stopped out during the making of this 934 candle, and that was my return on investment. However, as we came back down, we pushed up, put in what? A lower high. ADD started to print red. Told everybody, guys, this thing looking like a bit lower high. Where we're hoping to go is right back down to the support that held us from moving lower earlier. The opening 2 candles, guys. Again, if you're ready, this is a nice move to that line. It was clear, it was concise, and it worked great. It worked even better on the SPY chart than it did on the Qs chart. And then we move back up after hitting that support. Do we make it back up to the previous resistance? Nope, kind of. I mean, we wicked to it, but just shy of it. Nonetheless, as we are moving it, this is another lower high right here. I wouldn't have entered here because ADD was printing green. So my arrow is here, although we did have some people get in at the close of this candle, which is perfectly fine for me. And I had said to everybody, guys, if we can get below that morning support right there, we're looking for our target that we were looking for on the put scenario. So 2 opportunities to get into a trade, and both of them should have been pretty comfortable. Why? Because we came off of a lower high. We had red ADD. we broke support, and we broke our put line. So even if you waited for a close below the put line, we still made it down to our target. Excellent, excellent trade. That was a beautiful trade to the downside. Then we start to move up. What's this right here? A higher low. I tell everybody, if we can get through this resistance here, the next resistance up is this, our call line. And as luck would have it, ADD started to print green while we were breaching that resistance, and up we went. Did it hang out there for a long time? No. Do we care? No. It pulled back, put in a higher low, but we were getting closer to 10 o'clock, so we don't like to get into new trades at that point. But we do have some people that hold through these 10 o'clock candles. I don't. We did take a poll, and we all agreed that it was more likely to move up. So some people stayed in, and it did move up, and it made a new high of day on that. As we pulled back, putting in a higher low, we put in a lower high. So we basically got into a wedge. We don't like to take new trades while we're in a wedge. However, what we do want to do is wait for either a break of the wedge to the downside or for ADD to be in confluence with other things. Now, what's awesome is SPY put in a lower high before the Qs did. So we were already avoiding calls because of the lower high on SPY, which is not something that happens very often, but it's worth taking note of. And then ADD started to print red, was already printing red by the time the Qs gave us the signal to get in. And I told everybody, if we get through this little support here, our first target down is going to be the next higher low that we made on the way up, which is this right here, this blue line. Beautiful, beautiful trade to the downside. And again, I was already done for the day. So for me, these are just gravy. For other people, it was a beautiful day for the majority of the people in our community. But we were firing on all cylinders. We move all the way back up, hit resistance again. And at this point, again, I said, guys, we are looking for not a break of resistance here because you have resistance here and resistance here. There's not enough room to make money to the upside. Check ADD. I said, if ADD is printing red and we can get through this support right here, we're looking for that move to come back down to where we just came from. Very simple rules, guys. So what is happening? We're at resistance on both charts. ADD is printing red. We know where our next support down is. Let's go. So we get down there. We come down. I say again, we were talking about this trade way before this even happened. So guys, if we can get below the strength, this was a very strong support line. I said, usually when we get through those, the move on the other side of that is usually pretty aggressive and quick. So I wouldn't be at all surprised if we can break that support. If we break it, that we quickly move down to the next support down, which was right here. That's it. You are prepared for this, and the only reason you missed it is because you didn't like the setup. ADD was already trending down. Everything was red. It looked good. It was a beautiful trade. So if you missed the entry here, you had a great opportunity here. We closed below support with room to go to the next support. Very, very easy to understand. ADD was on our side. And that was pretty much it. We did find a couple of more good trades to the upside. Wanted to clear. I was in an in-depth conversation with people trying to explain to them what we're looking for, how we use support and resistance, how it negates the lines that we drew an hour before open, and all that stuff. Once we got above resistance here, we didn't want calls here because we had another resistance very close. And then once you get above that, you got to watch out because you have another one really close. I had said, we were talking about this all the way down here. And I told everybody, guys, if we can clear this high a day, the point is we'd like to continue up, and it's got a clear shot up to 517.80. So we wanted to get above resistance. We were putting in higher lows. ADD was printing green. Let's go. Okay, so we get up there. We pull back. We put in another higher low. And again, these moves were big and nice. Another higher low. What does that mean? We're more likely to break resistance. When we break the resistance we got to the first time, we're looking for the next one. ADD's printing green. Let's go. Higher low again, up to the next resistance. Guys, this does this all the time. Then we found ourselves in a wedge. Okay, if we break the wedge to the upside, should we get in? At this point, no. Why? Because you have resistance here. Should you get in here? Not really. Why? Because you have resistance here. If we get above that, we're looking for the next one up. Check ADD to make sure it's still pushing. It was. Ready, set, go. So you got in a couple of candles later. It still made a very nice, clean move to the upside. All right, now I'm off the mic in 15 minutes at this point, so we didn't find anything else because we started to move sideways. But guys, this stuff right here is easy to understand, okay? And the one thing that I tried to explain to people today was think of your trades, as far as probability goes, as each thing that we look for being valued at 25% chance of winning, okay? Now, again, no trade setup has a 100% chance to win just because it's the right setup. But the odds are in your favor, okay? And the way I say it is like this. Higher lows and lower highs. I'm sorry, lower highs and higher lows. I think it's the same thing, just in reverse. If you understand that concept, which if you watch my videos, you already know this, okay? Lower highs, higher lows. Think of that as a 25% chance that things will work in your favor, okay? So if we're putting in higher lows, calls should be what you're looking for, and that's worth 25% of probability. The second probability is, are we on support or resistance for Qs and SPY? Qs or SPY. Qs, 25% probability chance of winning if you're buying at the right time, on support when you're trying to buy calls. If SPY is on support as well while you're trying to buy calls, that's another 25%. So now think of it as your trade has a 75% chance of probability of winning, okay? And then the final piece of that particular puzzle is ADD. If ADD is printing green, you're on support on Qs, you're on support on SPY, and you're coming off of higher lows. That is basically, now there's nothing, like I said just a few minutes ago, nothing is 100% chance, but assume that your probabilities are as good as they are possibly going to get at that point, and you should, if you agree with my sentiment, consider taking that trade. You're not going to find a better setup. You're not. Okay? And as long as there's room to move before you run into your next resistance, that's the trades we're looking for. So think about it. The probabilities. Stack as many of them as you can in your favor, and then take the leap of faith. If a 50% probability chance is good enough for you, take it. It ain't good enough for me. Okay, I'm a 75% or more. I want 3 out of the 4 things minimum to be in my favor before I consider taking the risk. You need to know where your number is. I got people that have 0%, or what would be, based on what we just talked about, 0% chance of winning, and they take the trades. I've got people that think 25% chance of winning is good enough. Guys, it's not. You want to know how to minimize your losses? Start thinking of it the way I just explained it to you. This is what we do all day long. Today was a banger of a day. We didn't have to trade for very long today. Most people were one and done 10 minutes after the market opened, making good money. We had people make great money today, guys. It's not hard to see. It's hard to do because of your feelings and your emotions. But that's what we work on day to day. So with that said, we're going to wrap this up. I hope you found some useful information in this video. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe to join our Discord community. Well, we'd love to have you. If you'd like to buy my book, it's right here. There's good stuff in there. And, well, join us. The first week is completely free. You have to do nothing. No credit card information. No worrying about canceling anything. Just jump in there. Give me a try. Give the community a chance. You will learn something you don't know. I promise you that. Okay? And that is good information to have, whether you trade my strategy or not. All right? Support and resistance is king. Price action trumps all. With that said, thank you guys for watching. Till tomorrow, I love you.